Hi, it's me again with Corel Tips and Tricks, and I was going to make a banner for this, so I'm just going to delete these to get them out of the way because it's not really well, it is a banner, but it's not the traditional. This could be created almost any way. So let's just take a rectangle tool and kind of go from that node to that node, and then let's actually put it a little closer. Let's go to Object, and well, let me click on that, go up to Object and convert that to a curve, and now it's not a rectangle anymore. And now we can kind of manipulate the nodes. And if we put that node there and put this node here, and this node here, of course, you're going to want to do a little better than that closer, really watch what you're doing, get it maybe in the center of that line. And then go to your envelope tool and just with this single arc control, just bring that part of the rectangle up. And voila, you've got that. Now we need to bring probably this down. I always delete these other nodes right here because they don't seem to help, and sometimes they can be in the way. But that looks pretty close. You could actually bring it down a little bit and be dead on. And the same thing for this. This is just a curved rectangle. I've got the fire department deal locked. It's hard to draw a rectangle at that angle, but we can make it about this size. Go ahead and convert it to a curve so you won't forget. Double click on it and rotate it and kind of put it where you think it ought to be, and we're pretty close. Now I would grab the shape tool, and because we're a curve, I'm going to go ahead and just show you what to do there, there, and there. Of course, take your more time. I'm going to double click and put a node there and just kind of back that guy off. Of course, when we get this, we're going to want them actually touching each other. Now we're going to take the envelope tool. It's a little bit hard on this angle. Matter of fact, it's almost going to be impossible. So what we could do, we need to go and unlock this again. I locked it because I kept grabbing things. And if some people will know a better way to do this, I would appreciate it. Just kind of rotate it where that your rectangle is at kind of a 90-degree angle from the page. Then let's grab the red box and go to the envelope tool, and now you can see how we can manipulate it around. Make sure you have just a single arc picked so it looks more like that, and then go here. Now, that doesn't matter, and that doesn't really matter right now. So now, what's so good about this, let's group this together for a second, and let's angle it back. Now, for some reason, it should have gone back. Because I did something, it won't go back to where we were to begin with, but you can get it back pretty even. You can use indexing lines. And now we can actually take this red. So I'm going to, hopefully this is still grouped together. Well, okay, I've grouped it together, so let's ungroup it. And hopefully the fire department. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to nudge this box up and this box up, and see they're right there. Now I'm going to lock this guy again. Go up to Object, Lock, and lock it. That way you can't grab it. And I'm going to go down. And what we could actually do is take this one and Control D and make a duplicate and mirror it sideways, and then just move it right over there. You could actually hold down your control button so they'd be perfect. Now we're going to grab them all and just kind of nudge them over 2 inches. Let's get them out of the way of that, because what we're going to want to do is kind of join these together. So this line needs to be on top of that line. And this is where you're going to sometimes hate that it's an envelope, clear envelope, but see it goes that. You can't do that. So what we can do, and this I'm pretty sure this will work, we can move this up. We can use the Smart Fill tool, nudge that over, nudge that over, nudge that over, And then we have the shape without worrying about an envelope. I'm going to go ahead and make it black, and I'm going to put that right there, put that right there, and see what we've got. We've got a ribbon looking thing. You'd want to make sure that that line isn't over the other one. So go right on top of it. What we probably need to do is convert these two to a line. And then that way we can get rid of that node and just bring this one in. We just want it right on top of it. Same thing on the other side. So get rid of that node, click on that, turn it into a line. See, it messed up our art, so don't do that. Maybe we can grab these two and turn them into a line by right-clicking. Well, it still messed up our art, so let's don't do that. But we can just take that line and put it up. Now I had both nodes selected. Now that looks pretty good. That looks like the arch of the fire department. And then you would just put the words in there and do the same thing I did earlier with, this is actually easier. What I would suggest, and I'm not going to do the whole thing because we're going to clean up something else, it would be to take your 2-point line and mimic that curve and then move it out of the way. Take your 2-point line and mimic that curve for your text to path. Move it out of the way. Mimic this curve. I'm going to do one of them. Let's just do the Manville all in caps. Melville. Melville. Let's make it bold. Let's put it a little bit smaller. And since we're going off that, we can kind of go down there, make it a little bit bigger. And then we're just going to go text to path. Text to path and put it. Now you see what's wrong, it's upside down. So back out and just back up. And we're going to look at our line. And our line is backwards. It's going left to right, or it's going right to left. So go here and reverse the subpath. And then when we click on text to path, it should be perfect. I need to check on pick the text to path, and now you'll see it's going to appear perfect. Now it might be a little bit too big, but what we need about it, you can nudge it over that 2 inches. Yeah, it's quite a bit bigger. At this point, we can still change the text to like 9 points. There you go. But it's not going to be in the center. So maybe we can go back to text to path and probably have to break it apart. Just kind of back up, get it off the text. Go ahead and make it 9 points. This is where you just play and try to figure things out. So nice to be able to go back and get till you get that red line. Well, we can always adjust that by your numbers here. You can see, and if it's clicking too much, you could just put in like 0.04 and have it go back. Now let's look at it, see what it looks like. Now it looks a little bit off, so we can go 0.03, maybe 0.02. That looks good. And then we could you could move it up like this, but then you're going to run the same problem with it's going too fast because we're too small. Just kind of hold down the control button and just bring it down a little bit. Now, this time we need to go object and break the text apart, get rid of that line so that it doesn't interfere. And now we can set our nudge factor on something low like 0.001. You know, you can actually set your nudge factor on 0.000 and it'll still move. That looks pretty good. Now, the letters in the real one are it's not the same text, or a little different. Same thing on volunteer, just use these lines. Now, the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up. We've already cleaned up the circle, made it look good. We need to, okay, I hit the button twice. I'm going to hit back, put it back to 2 inches. So if you ever hit a button, just don't forget to redo it. I'm going to get rid of the bad one. I'm going to take our shield right here, and I'm actually going to, I wish I could work in the center of the page, but I can't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a line, 2-point line and just draw a line, holding down the control button. I'm going to grab these two and hit CE. Now I'm in the center. And really and truly, I'm going to try one other thing that I very seldom ever do, Control D and make a duplicate of that line and rotate it 90 degrees. I am going to delete everything. I'm going to be a risk taker. Tell you what, let's make a copy of it. Let me hit the plus key on the keyboard. I am going to take the virtual segment delete key. I'm going to delete everything except for that one side. And hopefully this will work. Now I'm going to take my shape, and you can see it. I can't believe it's like that. Let's try, see if there's anything in there. There's evidently 2 sets of lines. So let's see if we can't. Yes, perfect. Moved one out of the way, and it's now I got 1 set of lines. There were 2 sets of lines, and that might be one of the problems. Now I'm going to take you could take the smoothing tool, but that's way too big. Set it on like 0.1 and smooth this out a little bit. Make sure you're on it and take your time. You know, don't get in a hurry. You could actually take your shape tool, click on there and just see some nodes and delete them. You want the curvature, but you can play around with this. And you could have your old one here and kind of know what it looks like. And we're going to just clean up a few more. As long as I don't lose the box, we're going to take that one, hold down the shift. I'm going to delete that one first. I'm going to take this one, hold down the shift, grab that one and right click and turn it into a line. And do the same thing on the other side. Hold down the shift, right click, line. So we have a line there. Maybe delete a couple of nodes just to look. And if you had your other shield on top, you would know how it looks. Now there's one other part on this corner I do not like. It's because there's a node right there. And that looks much better. Let's delete that node, just see what happens. Okay, we can't do that. But we can also make the arch a little bit bigger. Now, sometimes this won't work, but sometimes it will. Now let's try this. We know what the center of the page is. It's right there. So I'm going to grab this thing, Control D and make a duplicate, get my center of the page to that. I'm actually going to delete this line because now we know the center of the page or the center of the item. And I'm going to Control D and I'm going to rotate this thing 45 degrees. Well, 90 degrees, sorry. Control D, Control D. Okay. See what happens sometimes when you go too fast? We need to click on that part, Control D, and the rotation is still there, and now go 180 degrees. Well, you could always rotate it. Yeah, it's 180. I don't know why. Oh, I didn't make a duplicate of it. Control D, 180 degrees. Control D. Now you have a even, and what I would always do is take the Smart Fill tool, doesn't matter what color, and I've got a leak, so that's really important. Somewhere along the line, it doesn't match, so we'll make it match. And what we can do, we could go back and redo the whole thing because now that one's going to match. If you move one, you know what? I wonder if I have 2 lines here. Yep, I had 2 lines. Now, what we could do instead of going through all that, let's go ahead and get a little bit closer. If I would go back and change the line before I duplicate it to this, it would work perfectly. So we're going to do one more other trick. I've been moving the outside in. We're going to, for just a second, we're going to grab all that and then grab the shape tool and we're going to select it all. You see, I've got some reds and blue. It doesn't always work. Let's try smart filling it first. I'm going to draw a box, smart fill, and we don't have any leaks. We're good to go. We don't have to do anything else. Now we can left click, right click, and that is a working model that's not going to leak. It's sealed up. Now, the only thing I messed up in is because I moved it around so much, but you see where I'm going. And if we put one thing we could do, let's do this. This thing should be perfect. So I'm going to take my circle and I'm going to go CE. Now our circle should be right in the middle. I'm going to group that together. I'm going to move this over. Now this is a lot of work, and I guarantee you could send this off to somebody that does digitizing, and for $15, get that one identical to yours. But to me, it's fun to play with and use your imagination on what to do. And then if you're going to engrave that, you know, it looks like there's 2 layers of this. Well, all you have to do is take that, let me zoom in, take that item and go to Effects and Contour, and let's contour the outside 0.02 and let's see what it looks like. That's too much. Let's go 0.002. Not enough. So let's back up here and go 0.01. That's probably too much. Tell you what, let's do one more. That's too much, so 0.009. That's about right. And then you could, you know, if he wants to engrave that, that would look good. But if he's going back to the drawing board and to, you know, pick a color and fill that in with a color, and then you have that outline. You could make that line. If we hit the F12 key on your keyboard, we could make that line something other than a hairline, but that's too thick for this little item. So what we're going to do, we're going to cancel that, and we're going to make this thing, see, we're so little, we're less than 1/4 of an inch. We need to grab the whole thing and make it, you know, it's going to be at least 5 inches. That's only 2. And what we did, we've lost our contour line because of it. But hit F12 and make it a 1/2 point. There we go. Scale with object. Make sure you have that on. And then, you know, the stars and stripes. Okay, I'm going to make one more video for that, and then I'm going to call this one a wrap. I truly hope this is helping him. Oh, we don't want fire. Yeah, we do. We want fire in here, and we got Melville. Now, remember, we made it quite a bit bigger, so this will have to get bigger. And let's delete this stuff. And once you put your lines in there, and, you know, if he's going to use it for the fire department and not engrave it just for something else, you could use the color eyedropper tool and take a sample of that and put it in there. And you get the exact same color and do that and that, and you'd have the same color. Okay, I'm going to do one more video on the flag. Hope this helps. Thank you for watching.